I'm very disorganized with all of this. It's been like nearly a decade and I have no clue. If you're a pantser, you know this, you're always like, oh, make the outline as you go. Never makes the outline as you go. I've been finding it torturous to try to write a book about like a magic system, and I have no idea how the magic system works. There's a line in Seventh Virtue. Do you see why this is getting complicated? Where Harrison is talking. I have literally 8 years of well-steeped lore, fostered lore. And he's like, you know, my plan for my 20s was just to make soup and die. And that's my plan too, so. Walking by myself, I haven't seen nobody else, somebody else. Hi everyone, welcome back to another writing vlog. So I just filmed a video and my hair looked nice. So I thought, you know, let me film a writing vlog. In other words, I'm home for summer, which means it's gonna be hot girl writer summer. I don't know. So the first thing that I want to talk about in this vlog is a bit of a channel update, a slight channel update. I have been suffering from some major autistic burnout, which means that my verbal communication skills are kind of tanking a little bit right now. Talking is hard. I find that I can kind of get slow or a bit jilted when I'm talking. If you notice that in videos, it probably isn't noticeable because I'm trying very hard. That's why speaking is a bit of a limited resource for me right now. I still want to make videos for you guys. I just can't do it in the exact same way. So if I'm not looking at the camera, if I'm a bit choppy, I'm not going to be editing everything out anymore because I still want to get content up for you while also accommodating my disability. So I appreciate your understanding, but let's talk about writing now. The reason I started this vlog is because I've a bit of things to do today. I have been writing the crap out of Seventh Virtue, which bless, because when I'm in school, I just finished filming a video on like my writing degree. So when I'm in school, I just can't write. Like I cannot write my book. It's so sad. I can never do like engage with my fostered characters and it can be kind of distressing, honestly. When the summer hits, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a fostered summer. And so I've been writing Seventh Virtue like crazy. Yesterday, I hit 60,000 words in the manuscript. My goal is to hit 100,000 words before August, because when I go to school in August, it's not going to be written again until April. I'm trying to finish the book or at least hit 100K before the end of the summer. I actually think I can do it much sooner because I've been writing the crap out of Seventh Virtue. I wanted to do a 5K day. Today I won't be able to because I have a meeting with a lit mag that I run on campus and it's just not going to be enough time in the day to write that much, but I'd like to write at least 1,000 words. Yesterday, I don't even know, I wrote like 1,500 or 2,000 or something. I was on a road trip and over the road trip I wrote like about 4,000 words. It was last weekend. I've been writing it a lot more. I've been more consistent with it. With Seventh Virtue, it's really important. I have a terrible like short-term memory, so I don't remember what happened in my books and I don't outline. Like I've started doing reverse outlines just so that I can remind myself, but I haven't done that in a while, so it's a bit out of date. If you're a pantser, you know this, you're always like, oh, make the outline as you go. Never makes the outline as you go. So I've forgotten some of the conflicts, which I'm sure I'll realize when I do a big reread of this project. I just don't have the energy for that right now. I've been working on a chapter where Harrison kind of gets pulled into Reeves' mind, and if you don't know anything about Seventh Virtue, it's essentially about Harrison, who is 25. He's having a bit of a quarter life crisis when his old friend, and she's also a magical woman named Reeve, comes back into his life and asks him for help in finding her brother, his ex, who has been abducted by their crazy magical family. I'll link the vlog where I more extensively explain Seventh Virtue, but Harrison has been sort of taken into Reeves' mind. It's kind of fun because we get to be in her point of view. I realized while I don't know, just over the last couple of weeks, that Seventh Virtue, you know how Feeding Habits, which is book 2 of the Mothwork series, and Mothwork is a spin-off of Fostered, which is books 1 to 6. Feeding Habits, and actually the Mothwork series in general, follows the same characters. It's just a different genre. I've genre bent it. It is about Lonan and Harrison, and Lonan is Reeves' brother and Harrison's ex. It's about their relationship. But I realized Seventh Virtue, and if it becomes a series, which I'm pretty sure it's going to be, because at this point, like, that's just in character for me, is going to be Harrison and Reeves' story, which is the most exciting outcome that could have ever happened. The fact that I finally get to write their story, their friendship story, into a book is just very exciting, because Harrison and Reeves' friendship is a huge deal in books 1 to 6. She's not in the Mothwork and Feeding Habits books all that much. Honestly, I forgot how to write with her. I was having a bit of a crisis. I really missed her because I'd written with her for years and years and years across 6 books, and then I kind of forgot how to write with her. I talked about this in old vlogs back when I was in grade 12. I had no idea how to write her anymore. So the fact that it's kind of come full circle and like I get to finally write with the best friends again, and they can have a relationship and, you know, make mistakes and be mean to each other and love each other and grow as friends and as people. Oh my god, I'm so happy for them. Something about Seventh Virtue that I love also is that, you know, Fostered was me exploring my teens. A lot of it's YA, a lot of the time they're teenagers. The narrator at least is a teenager for all of Fostered. Now we're in Seventh Virtue and I'm in my 20s now, and my characters are in their 20s, and we can all be super messy in our 20s. There's a line in Seventh Virtue where Harrison is talking to Reeve, and he's like, you know, my plan for my 20s was just to make soup and die. And that's my plan too. So actually, I'm not going to be doing that right now because I need to do some edits for Literary Magazine. I have been winning in terms of the publication. I don't know why everybody is just taking my stories right now. So I'm getting a short story called Jasmine's Brows and Cuts, published in the Puritan, which is my dream publication. I've been wanting to be published there since I was 17. It's such a big deal to me and I'm so excited. But the editor just sent me some revisions and I want to look at it, implement that. So I'm going to do that before my meeting. That's basically why I started this vlog. Hey everyone, so it's been quite some time since I updated this vlog, which of course is how all of my writing vlogs go lately. So the last time I spoke to you, I was finishing up an edit for a short story that's coming out, I think in like 2 weeks, in the Puritan. I got the approval on the story a couple of days ago, which was just really relieving, and I was so happy that the editor liked it. And I'm just so excited for the story to come out because it's kind of different territory for me. It's set in Toronto and it follows a brown girl who could be like me in just a couple of years, and so it deals with a bit more themes, I think, of culture that I don't often write about. I don't usually feel super pulled as of right now to write about that in my fiction. Write about that all the time in my poetry. So it is a bit of new territory for me and I'm excited for you guys to read it. But today I'm honestly not really sure what to do. I got a question in a video that I just posted, I think yesterday. It was my 3rd year wrap up and somebody had asked like how I write as an autistic writer. The writing process that I use needs to sort of be informed by that, accommodated a little bit. I'm mentioning that because a huge thing for me as an autistic person is I struggle to make decisions. I'm really bad at choosing things, especially when I have all the time in the world or like a variety of things I could do at any given point. So today I'm not really sure what I want to do. I was thinking I might either do some sketches of my characters in Seventh Virtue so I can work on their character profiles, because I realized I need character profiles. I'm writing a fantasy book where everybody has magic, but I actually have no idea who has what magic or how their magic works. And I know I don't need like drawings or pictures of the characters in order to make a character profile, but I feel like I want to have pictures. So, or I could work on a painting that I'm already working on and listen to my book, or I could just write my damn book. I don't know. I can't decide. So I'm going to make a decision. By the way, I didn't mention, if you hear heavy breathing, it's because my dog, Winston, there he is. Hi, buddy. He's in the room. He's a bulldog. Bulldogs are loud. In terms of Seventh Virtue, I was doing some brainstorming yesterday. More of the characters. There's a lot of characters. It's the biggest cast I've ever had because essentially Seventh Virtue is just my fun book where I am breaking canon at all times for all of the Fostered books, and I'm smooshing all of them together. And if you didn't know, Fostered is a 6-book main series, and then it has 2 books as a spin-off, and Seventh Virtue is the 9th book in the series. I'd also planned a spin-off of Fostered. I think I have, my first writing vlog was me outlining that. Oh my god, I don't even want to watch that. It was called Alanis, and it was supposed to be the first spin-off of Fostered. So I have that entire book, all its contents, all of its characters already outlined, which means I'm smooshing together like 9 or 10 books. It was actually supposed to be a duology, so like 11 books into one book. So I'm getting overwhelmed. Though, like, I can't keep track of all of this stuff because there's just so much information. There's tons of characters. If you didn't know, I don't write with a lot of characters. I honestly prefer to keep it to 3 or below, or 4 or below as a main cast. And then of course there's going to be some side characters who show up, but really nothing beyond that. So there's a character in Seventh Virtue named Darren who I'm going to be working on because he has a big family I need to map out. And Darren was in the original books of Fostered. He showed up in books books 5 and 6. And he's kind of like Reeve, who was the protagonist of the main series. He was her like boyfriend, kind of like her love interest. It was kind of not really official, but he's back in Seventh Virtue, which is awesome because he's one of my favorite characters. He's a really large family in Seventh Virtue. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from kind of where I'm from, and I don't have the biggest family, but I have quite a big like immediate family. So I kind of wanted to write about like siblings and cousins and stuff. So I've already canoned his family as Guyanese. I'm Guyanese, adding some Caribbean rep into the book just to like be fun and to inject myself a little bit. Maybe I should like make a character that's just me. But he has a big family. He has like multiple siblings, and then some of his siblings have children, and so I'm just confused. I'm like, who is who? And another thing about being autistic is that I really struggle like to visualize things if I've just like written it out. So for example, with a family tree, I have no idea. I feel very displaced from Darren's family because it's too many characters for me to like understand without seeing it. Remember, like I mentioned the outline, the first thing I outlined was Alanis, which was the spin-off. I had actually outlined that on a giant whiteboard. If you watch the first writing vlog, which I'm not recommending you do, but if you want to, you'll see it in that video. I couldn't do it in a document. I had to like print it and like move things physically, which is why I kind of like Scrivener. So I might try like mapping them out on Scrivener. I don't know. Outlining can get quite overwhelming because of that. There's like a lot of information. I don't know which ducks go in which basket. It's really difficult for me to see more than just an amorphous of blobs, so I kind of need to break it down quite a lot in order for me to even understand what's happening in my own book. And beyond that, Reeve also has a big family. I'm gonna make a video on Seventh Virtue so I can just refer to it instead of having to re-explain this every single time, so bear with me if you already know this. But Seventh Virtue follows like two main characters, Harrison and Reeve. So a little bit about Reeve. So Reeve in Seventh Virtue is 24. And like I said, she used to be the narrator of books 1 to 6 of Fostered, and she was 15 to 19 in the original series. Is she 23 or 24? I don't know. 23, 24, somewhere around that. I don't know my characters' ages. I'm very disorganized with all of this. It's been like nearly a decade and I have no clue. She has a couple of siblings. You might recognize one who I talk about all the time. So she has a brother. His name is Lonan. Lonan has an ex-boyfriend who's kind of, on and off a little bit, named Harrison. And Harrison is the other narrator of Seventh Virtue, the main narrator. It's mostly his story. I was going to add Lonan's point of view into Seventh Virtue, so it would be Lonan, Reeve, and Harrison, because I've written a couple of scenes in Reeve's point of view. The vast majority of the book is written in Harrison's point of view. Maybe about 10,000 or 15,000 words is written in Reeve's head. But with that said, I realized this story is really like a best friend story about Reeve and Harrison. So Lonan's not really going to be in this book. So beyond Lonan, she has a couple of other siblings. So of the siblings, Lonan, I think, is 2 or 3 years older than her. At one point it was 2 years, and then at one point it was 3 years. And I don't know if I made up my mind in this book. How old is Harrison? 25? I don't know how old. If Harrison's 25, Harrison and Lonan are the same age. So Lonan's 25, but then Reeve would have to be 22? I thought she was 24. Anyway, so her older brother is Lonan. That's the TLDR. She also has an older sister who is younger than Lonan, but like by like a year, I think, named Christiane, who's also going to be in this book. She actually kind of like faded out of relevancy for a long time in the Fostered series, the main series. She was a huge character in books 2 and 3 in particular, and then she faded out into irrelevancy in books 4 and 5, and then in book 6 I brought her back kind of as a supporting character. Reeve also has another sibling, originally named Chris. The story, though, is that I can't keep Chris into Christiane in this book. Yesterday I was deciding that I needed to rename Chris, which is weird for me because Chris's name has been Chris for a really long time. Years? Like 5-6 years now. I had decided something as a 13-year-old when I was writing book 2 of the main series. Essentially, Reeve's mom has a whole bunch of kids, and at one point she decided to name her youngest, who was the aforementioned Chris, after her oldest daughter named Christiane, and I can't keep both. I can't have a Chris and a Christiane in this book. So I decided to probably call Chris Frankie. Anyway, so Chris is really cool. Chris is the youngest. It's about like 16 or so. I haven't really made up my mind yet. They aren't really in the book yet. They will be, but anyway. And then, am I missing any siblings? I think I have all of the siblings. So yes, we have Reeve, we have Lonan, we have Christiane, and we have Frankie. If I'm missing one of them, I'm gonna be upset. They all have their own like buddy or like significant other. Christiane has her girlfriend, Kate. Frankie has their friend. I can't really decide how that goes, Matthew. Lonan has nobody right now. He has Harrison when that's working out. So as you can see, I'm confused. It's like been a lot to kind of figure out and get straight. So what I want to do today, I think I've decided, I'm just gonna go into Scrivener and start doing this. I've been finding it torturous to try to write a book about like a magic system, and I have no idea how the magic system works. Of course, this is coming from the girl who has no idea how fantasy works, even though I'm trying my best with this book. It's my first time writing fantasy and it's been difficult. So of course we have big families on both sides. Harrison, thankfully we don't have to deal with him too much because he is not very close with his family and he doesn't have a very big family. The only person in his life who is family is his mother, and she's not in this book right now because she's gone missing. And then the other main character, whose name is Foster, has a family, and that's a whole other history. I don't know. I have no idea. I forgot that. It's coming back to me. Foster has a sister. Maybe I should put her in the book. Do you see why this is getting complicated? Because I have literally 8 years of well-steeped lore, fostered lore. There are just tons of characters. Maybe I need to go in and like write them all down and decide who I've added. That's my chaos. Let's jump into me making these character profiles. So I got my stuff, I got some tea, I'm ready to go. But while I was downstairs, I saw my issue of CV2 and I wanted to show you, I have a poem in here and I'm reading at their reading. It might have already passed by the time I post this. And I also ran into my copy of the Fiddleheads. So this is my Fiddlehead. I'm just showing you these now because this one particularly came while I was at school. These are just 2 of the magazines I've been published in lately. I think they're still selling them. So if you want to pick up a copy, yeah, poetry in both of these. The Fiddlehead, I have 2 poems, one called A Burial and one called The Night My Mother Learned to Use the Bus. And in CV2, I have a poem called What's the Difference Between Good and God? So if you want to read them, they're in these issues. They're linked in my link tree, which is always in my description. All right, so I'm at my desk. I'm gonna pull up my Scrivener file for 7th Virtue. All right, so you're currently looking at my Scrivener file. I am not a huge pro at Scrivener, but this is the manuscript sort of like outline. I think I've even copy and pasted the chapters. In the manuscript overview, you can see I've written like the summaries, quote unquote, of each chapter. They're just kind of bare bones to help remind myself because I don't remember this book already. It's been like a year, like almost a year since I wrote a good chunk of it, and I don't remember a lot of it. So that's why I outline after the fact. I never stay on top of it. You always say that you're going to do it and then you never do. Even as a pantser, I have to outline my books because I don't remember them and I don't have time to reread like 45,000 words. So these are just like the quick and dirty like descriptions of each chapter. And then if I click on chapter 1, you can see sort of like the scene breakdown as well. And I think if I change the, like, yeah, if I click on it, you can like see it here, the book. And then if I click on manuscript, like you can see the whole thing, I think. So I have that for all of the chapters. You can see I have 9 chapters. I actually have a couple of more that I have not updated. I finished Blood Relative. I think I've written a chapter 10 and I might have written a chapter 11, or I'm currently writing a chapter 11. But yeah, it's Play Again, Memory Palace, Hang Dry, Fear 4, Entry Point, Wax Figure, Fever Dream, Close Friend, and Blood Relative. I just like naming my chapters. It makes me feel happy. It's like the short fiction brain inside of me gets excited about it. So that's not really what I'm working on today. What I'm working on is characters. So in the characters field here, I have the 7th roost, and I have like the different roosts. I have like the 4th and the 3rd, just the ones that are relevant to the characters. In 7th virtue, there are 7 roosts, as it's called, basically houses, families, whatever you want to call it. All 7 coincide with the 7 deadly sins and the 7 holy virtues. And so each family has its own magical abilities. Obviously, the book is called 7th Virtue, so it's going to be mostly about the 7th Roost, who you're looking at right now, sort of. I haven't really finished this yet. If I click on Reeve, for example, and like I open it up, I can also click here for that. I've just started taking notes, but I didn't actually end up finishing it. I don't know where I got this template from. It might have been from Scrivener itself, or I might have found it online. I did these 2 artworks. You can watch the video. I introduced my characters, Harrison and Lona, and that was in the context of feeding habits. I'm just gonna create templates for all the characters and then I'll fill them out. Okay, so it's been many hours and the update is that I've been doing picaroos like all day. That was what I guess I decided to do with my day. I just kind of stumbled into it. I really enjoyed it. I had to make like tons for different characters because some of them I don't have art for, and I'd like to create art for all of them, but that's gonna take hours and weeks. And in the meantime, I just wanted to make my Scrivener look nicer. Usually I don't do these like little activities that are really fun. I'm kind of like boring. I just write. So it was just nice to do something kind of like fun and creative, but I didn't have to do all the work. I could still get what I wanted out of the day, which was to like kind of visualize the characters and start organizing the Scrivener file. I finished everything off. You would have seen the boards on the screen recording. I think they look pretty good. I think everyone looks relatively like how they actually do. I think this was a productive session though. I now understand relatively what all of these characters look like, which is good because I don't know if it's just an autistic thing or if everyone else experiences this as well, but I don't see my characters' faces. Even though I can draw them, when I think of my characters, I don't see their faces. Like I just see like a faceless being, or they don't have their face to me, like if I think of them. All that's to say that I'm just happy that I was able to create some sort of concrete representation of these people because I didn't know who they were, and because I didn't know who they were and I couldn't see their faces, like they don't seem like real people, so then I forget about them. But now that I've spent like 3 hours of making picaroos and like individually placing everybody's facial features, I won't forget who they are now. 7th Virtue's coming along quite swimmingly in terms of like how much I've gotten done. I'm at about 60,000 words. I started that book sometime in May. It's May now. It's May 2nd when I'm filming this, last year. And I thought I was going to be able to finish the book in, couple months because it was going really, really well. But what happened is September hit and I'm in school and I didn't really write it much from September to April. And because of that, like, I've been kind of feeling like shit because I wanted to finish this book quickly. I used to be able to, and I know it's silly to compare myself to my past self, especially because my past self was 13 and had no responsibilities. It was in grade 8. But, when I was in grade 8, I could write books in 3 months. That was, like, the average, 3 to 4 months. I wrote the first book of Fostered, which was 87,000 words in 3 months. I wrote book 2 of Fostered, which I think was like 94,000 words in 3 months. So like to not be able to hit that, I may kind of feel like a little annoyed of myself about that. I mean, I know it's like stupid because it's completely different time. I have like different expectations now. With that said though, I've been feeling kind of bummed about 7th Virtue almost being a year. Feeding Habits, the 2-year anniversary of Feeding Habits just passed last month, and I had like an existential crisis about it. I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, it's been 2 years. I don't know how to finish this book. It's just gonna sit here. I'm not even thinking about that book right now because I don't even know what to do with it. I think I need to just watch the Hannibal, and then that'll get me some inspiration because it's around that time that I started writing Feeding Habits. So taking forever to write my books is not it's not it. I know that I'm a full-time student taking a full course load and I should just, understand that. But there's a part of me that wants to be able to snap my fingers and write a book in 2 months like I used to be able to, even though it's unrealistic and doesn't take into account the changes in my life. But anyway, I'm gonna show you the final board because I also added some cute photos on the front. So this is the final board. So I did the 7th roost and then the 3rd roost. It's just out of order based off of like which one's most important. Obviously the book is called 7th Virtues, so 7th roost is gonna be the most important, and then Darren's family is like the second biggest, and then I'm probably not even gonna have the 4th roost in the book. It's just that Foster's from the 4th roost and he's one of the like main characters, kind of like a side character. And then if I click on it, yay, I actually made one of Reeve, but I didn't put it in here because I really like this art. Izzy, we have Lonan, Harrison, Christiane, Kate, Reeve, Joel, and then Frankie. And Joel's not really part of the family. He's a terrible person, but you know, we kind of have to put him here for convenience reasons. I didn't actually fill out any of the information yet. 3rd roost, we have Estelle, which is Darren's mom, Elise, who's the oldest sibling. She's like in her 30s. Her husband, Kenneth. The kids, I didn't make pictures of because I didn't feel like it. And they're too young. Like one's a baby, like Brianna is a baby. Makai and Jaden are like 11, they're twins. Beverly, who is Darren's sister, Bev's girlfriend, Catherine, aka Kit, no one calls her Catherine. Darren, our boy Darren. Jocelyn, who's Darren's fiance, kinda. She goes by Joss. Nathan, who's her brother. Kaya, who is Darren's younger sister, I think she's like 17. Then Matthew, who's the youngest, Peterson. Hi everybody, so I just wanted to close out this vlog. I never officially ended it because I thought it was much shorter than it actually ended up being. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. How has writing been going for you guys? Let me know in the comments, but for now I will see you in another video. Bye.